The next one I want to present is John Oberg. He was a employee of or working for and analyzing some of the data at the U.S. Department of Education when he discovered something curious, and that was that literally billions, I didn't say millions, I said billions of taxpayer dollars were being siphoned back through the Department of Education and given to the banks who were giving student loans. They were already getting the interest on these loans. And they were taking then millions of those billions and giving them to senators and congressmen so that they wouldn't close the loopholes in the law that allowed this money to be transferred in such huge amounts back to those banks. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about his work, but I just think that one of the things about this whole student loan thing is that, what we discover here is that, our students who take these loans are not then, being freed to become what they could be in our society. Instead, they're being enslaved by these banks, and it's changing their lives. It's actually an experiment in social engineering, so that the kids are not actually able to do and become the things that they could be and the fine citizens they might be and explore the lives that they might be able to. In terms of sort of the global economy, what happens is instead of being employed by it, they are being exploited by it for the good of the banks and for the detriment of all of us. John Oberg has been exposing that for quite some time, and through the False Claims Act has been single-handedly suing these banks to get this money back and then return it to students. John Oberg.
Thank you. I'm pleased and proud to be associated with GAP and to be included in Robert Chatterley's wonderful project. Each and all of you know how important you are to me. I value your support beyond measure. Like other whistleblowers, I did not want to become one. All I wanted in my career, both as an academic and as a federal civil servant, was to search for truth and to abide by my oath to discharge my duties under the laws of the United States. You are honoring me, I hope you know, not because of what I did, but what I couldn't do, simply because it was not in me to violate not just my oath, but everything I had worked for decades. Let me tell one quick anecdote that typifies my experience. 3 years into my lawsuit against 9 student loan lenders who were committing financial fraud, a large group of lawyers gathered around a huge conference table at a posh K Street firm's office. That wasn't the Gap office, I assure you. We were there to talk settlement. The Department of Education was there. The Department of Justice was there. A dozen lawyers representing financial institutions were there, including one flown in from Wall Street expressly for the meeting. He spoke for the financial institutions. If you don't settle as we wish, we are going to make it very difficult for you, Mr. Oberg. I did not respond. He repeated again. We are going to make it very difficult for you, Mr. Oberg. I said nothing. My counsel waited in vain for government officials to object to the threats. The talks broke up shortly thereafter. Tonight, I'd like for the first time to give my response to the threats. Just how did you make it difficult for me, Mr. Wall Street counsel? Did I miss a bullet whistling by my ears? Does it look tonight as if I regret not succumbing to your threats? I know you tried mightily to make it hard for me through our long court battles, but you have to remember that I am a political scientist who absolutely relished having a front row seat, watching it all being fought out, sometimes with me in the witness box itself. Yes, there will be a book. You have to remember that the financial settlements we were able to get from you in the ensuing years in 7 of 9 lawsuits have funded my legal costs many times over. They have also funded many charities that protect consumers from people like you, Mr. Wall Street Counsel. You have to remember that exposing your client's fraud was an important factor when Congress in 2010 ended your wasteful federal loan program and it enabled tens of billions of taxpayer dollars to go to financially needy students rather than into your already overstuffed pockets. You have to remember that our victory over you in the Supreme Court in 2017 enabled class action suits by borrowers against one of the worst of your loan servicing institutions. These suits are soon to have their day in federal courts. You have to remember that documents discovered in our long legal battle showing fraud and perjury will surely be of interest to newly elected House oversight committees. Let me again, tell me again, Mr. Wall Street Counsel, why should I have caved in to your threats? Did you not know that I did not have it in me, nor will I ever have it in me to violate my oath? Ladies and gentlemen, even as we're meeting here this evening, waste, fraud, abuse, mismanagement, racketeering, corruption are still doing great harm to student loan borrowers, their families, and taxpayers. This is madness, and it must stop. Let the House oversight hearings begin. I remain ready to help however I can. Thank you. Thank you, Rob.